Hello, everyone. My name is Narelle Stefanak, and I'm the AI Skills Lead at Microsoft. And I'm going to be your host throughout this next sort of 45 minutes. I'm going to take you through a really interactive session, even though I'm not there in person with you. But the idea is that you should be able to pause me, rewind me, fast me forward if you need to. So ultimately, you can go at your own pace. And to help you along, what we've done as well is we've also given you this workbook. So you should be able to see this workbook in your files. And what you're looking for is just to be able to download this. That way you can actually just physically copy any of the prompts that are in here. So you can click over them, right click, copy, and then be able to paste it into Copilot. So it makes it really easy for you so you don't have to type everything out. And we're also going to get you to do some capturing of the things that you've actually done as well. So for example, if you copy and paste this prompt into Copilot, you'll be able to just quickly right click and paste the response that Copilot has on the next slide as well. So make sure you download this workbook. It's in your program. So make sure you download it. You've got a copy, and then at least you'll capture everything that you're doing. So as I mentioned, my name's Narelle Stefanak, and I'm not a techie. So I'm bringing this to you from a business program management point of view. I've worked in and out of the education sector and also different sort of SaaS-based tech companies for a long time. And this is really the first hardcore tech business that I've worked in, and they talk different here. So I'm going to give this to you as from the perspective of someone that sort of gets it. I understand when someone's speaking techie jargon, and I've got to try and work out what they're saying. And I'm going to take you through how I use Copilot just in its basic form, no license required, to be able to do some pretty cool things to help me understand my job better, become the expert faster, and then also be able to catch up with everyone else who I feel are flying a million times faster than what I am in their roles. So that's what we're going to do together today. Now, to help you along, if you haven't done this already before, which I'm sure you have probably a few times already, if you can go into copilot.microsoft.com and then sign in, and just sign in with your personal account. You don't have to sign in with a work account, just sign in with your personal account. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it as well. Okay, so now that you've done that, and remember, you can stop me, pause me, rewind me, go back over things if you need to. What we're going to do today is we're actually going to go through three things. I'm going to show you how to dumb stuff down, because often I get very techie stuff and I don't understand it and I need it to be dumbed right down for me. So I'm going to show you some prompts on how to do that. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is, this is my favorite prompt. It's enlisting the expert. I use it a lot, and I'll show you why, because you can actually enlist one expert, but then you can also use that expert to enlist another expert, and then you can just observe the magic happen before your eyes. And I'll show you what I mean when we get to that one. And then the next one is a hackathon plan. So many people have always thought about, I'd love to do a hackathon, or I'd love to create a project, or, but I don't really have the skills. I don't know what questions to ask. I don't know the steps to take. I might have an idea, or maybe I'm still trying to work out what my idea is. Well, I'm going to show you how to do all of that, right? So right from that ideation phase, right through to having a minimum viable product at the end, I'm going to show you how to do it in probably about 30 minutes, maybe less. So, and I'm taking and stealing a lot of ideas from the garage, who do this exceptionally well. So just going to take you through what that plan looks like, and then you can have your own documented plan by the end of this session. Okay, so dumb it down. This one is so easy to do. I really do love it because it helps me just to take something that might be technical in nature and then break it down into something that's really simple so I understand it, and so that I can explain it to others as well. So one of the things that I did when I first started working at Microsoft was I was strongly encouraged to complete a Microsoft certification, and Azure Fundamentals is like Cloud 101, right? So if you're just trying to learn the basics of cloud infrastructure, that sort of stuff, that's where you start. And I thought, that sure, that can't be too hard. But and they had one of these things in the actual training program that was talking about horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. And I just didn't know what the difference was. I couldn't make sense of it. There was words in there, but I just couldn't make sense of it. So I asked, what is the difference between horizontal and vertical scaling as it relates to Azure? And I got this response. And I look at this response now, and now I've been with Microsoft for just over 4 years, and I've done a few certifications. And when I read this response, I get it now. Like the words make sense to me because I've heard a lot of these words before over that period of time, right? So horizontal scaling, this involves adding or removing instances of a resource like virtual machines, so that sort of stuff I get now. But I didn't then. Like back then, I looked at this and I've gone, what is an instance? What is a resource? What do we mean by virtual machines? I know what an application is, but what does that have to do with the cloud? I don't understand that bit. And when you say high traffic, I know what that looks like on the road, but what does that mean from a computer's perspective? So there were so many words in here that just didn't sort of land with me immediately. So when I looked at this, I became more overwhelmed than actually answering my question. I was thinking how much more I didn't know rather than how was this actually helping me to just remember something that was so simple, horizontal or vertical scaling. Surely it can't be that hard. So this was challenging for me. So the easiest prompt to put in at this point is explain this to me like I'm a 10-year-old. And this is such a great prompt to use because it'll bring it right back into terms that make sense. Okay, so it says, sure, imagine you're running a lemonade stand and you've got two ways to handle your growing customers. So you can either do it horizontally, which is just as more people show up, add more and more stands, right? It makes sense. You've got one stand, but you've got more people. So add another stand with, people serving on that one, more jugs, and you're just repeating and replicating your lemonade stand. So you've got more and more and more. So you have more people visiting, more customers coming to your stand. You want to make sure you've got enough stands to serve them all. Vertical scaling, however, is different because vertical scaling is saying, well, I don't want multiple stands. I just want one big stand, and I want this stand to be the best stand you could possibly imagine. I want it to have the best juice, so I'm going to invest in a great juicer, and then I want it to have fancier options that people can choose from. I want it to be just bigger all up, so it's just one big mega stand instead of having multiple. So when you're thinking about your business and you are using the cloud so that people can come to your website, and you've got lots and lots of people coming to your website, you have to make a decision. Do you want to scale vertically by adding more computers so that you can have enough people to be like enough speed so that people can come and their experience isn't clunky? Or do you want to just have like this one really big computer that has lots of RAM and CPU and like all this power behind it? So it doesn't matter how many people come in, they're just going to be taken care of, right? So it's just deciding which way is better for your business. So either vertical, make it bigger, or horizontal, add multiples. And so I thought, well, this is great, but I can't be going around the business talking like this because this is, a little bit embarrassing if I'm comparing it to lemonade stands. So I ask it to dial it up. So when you dial it up a little bit, if I tell it that it's a bit too basic and then explain it to me like something else. So this time I've said like I'm a 15-year-old. In that instance, they just sort of give another analogy. And that's the thing that I like about it. And this one's more around a gaming analogy. So this is a little bit more on point for what I would be looking for if I was to talk about it internally or explaining it to someone else. So it just gave me some more ways to think about it and explain it. And so this is now talking about, if I want to be able to scale horizontally with my game, it means when my friends come to visit, instead of just having one console, I'd have multiple consoles, right? So that then if someone comes over, they can just jump on. If they go away, I can just pack it away. So it just gives you that flexibility. So there you go. There's two examples of how you can dumb it down, but then maybe edge it and dial it back up a little bit. Super simple, really, really easy. I've got these in the workbook for you as well. All right, enlisting the expert. Now this one's fun. I like this one. This prompt was given to me. I've never typed it out physically. I've just copied and pasted it. And that's all I expect you to do as well. But this prompt in particular, what it's designed to do is to take an opportunity or a problem that you might have and then provide you with an expert consultant. So imagine your business said, okay, we've got this project we need to do. We know that you're going to need help. We've given you someone from a top consultancy firm and they're going to help you by consulting to you and asking you the right questions to help you move this project along, right? That's what this is doing. So this is what the, the prompt is. It's big, okay? Now, I've bolded the words that I just really want to pop out to you, and I'm going to tell you why. So this could be it for a problem or an opportunity, same, right? Some people like to think of a problem statement or an opportunity statement, but it's something that you're trying to do. You're instructing Copilot to like how you're going to work with them. So you're saying to Copilot, you will ask me, and then I will tell you, and then you're going to create this great person that's going to be able to help me. And then every time that person is there, their job is to be a consultant. So their job is to ask questions. So every time that we go into this sort of backwards and forwards in our prompt, they're always going to give me 3 more questions to answer. Now, if I can't physically answer those questions because I don't know the answers, or maybe I don't think my answers are the best answers that are possibly out there, then I'm going to ask you to answer them as well. So you're going to enlist another expert to answer those questions that are coming from the first expert. And then we're going to repeat the process. They're going to ask another 3 questions. I'll answer some, maybe, and then you'll answer the rest. And we'll just do this for a while until we can just get as much, great questions and great answers out there. And it's just going to build this beautiful big string of information that's going to be uncovered. And then at some point, I'm going to get tired and I'm just going to say, give me the solution. And when I type in solution, you're going to give me a great solution. Okay, so that's how we're going to work together. And then I just clarify that Copilot understands what I'm asking of them. So in this little statement down the bottom here, it says, if you can carry out this task, simply respond. Please let me know what opportunity or problem you would like to investigate. So that's what I'm expecting to see back from Copilot in the first instance after I hit enter. And so when I hit enter, please let me know what opportunity or problem you would like to investigate. Okay, these are exact things that came back from Copilot, and we're going to take it live in a second, so I'll show you how it all comes together. So the opportunity that I had was fictional, but I do have a dog and she is a beagle, but I have the opportunity to create a 10 series podcast on dogs. But I have limited knowledge as I only own a beagle and she's a bit unusual in comparison to other dogs I've interacted with before. Please help me. And Copilot will respond. So Copilot said, this sounds like an exciting opportunity, Narelle, to help you create a compelling, successful podcast. Here's a great persona, Dr. Canis, and fictional character, but this Dr. Canis holds a PhD in animal behavior, has been a dog trainer for over 15 years, specializes in understanding and addressing canine behaviors, right? So fabulous. This sounds like the perfect person. If I had to write a podcast and I needed an expert to help me make sure that it made sense of it, this is the type of person I would enlist. Okay, so it doesn't end here. I'm going to take you across to Copilot Live to show you how this actually comes together. Okay, so we're in Copilot, and what we're going to do from here is I'm actually going to take that first one, and you should do this from your workbook as well, right? So in your workbook, we go over to here. In your workbook, you have the prompt. So you just have to copy it. And then when you post it, because it's in a text box, when you post it into Copilot, just right click and say paste as plain text. Just means that it doesn't try and post it as a picture. It actually posts it as what it should be. So Copilot will go, yep, sure. Please tell me about your opportunity or problem you would like to investigate, like we thought. And then what I need to do is I need to tell it about that 10 series podcast. I'll just copy that prompt and paste it in here for you. I didn't paste it as, see how it did it as a picture? You've got to right click and paste as plain text. There we go. It'll still work as a picture, but it's just easier if you have it as text. It makes it easier to sort of look back through your trail later on. Okay, so I've got Dr. Kayla Martin, a canine behaviorist with 15 years of experience, right? So it tells me a lot about Dr. Kayla Martin. Now, it also then goes in to ask me, what is the main goal or theme of your podcast? Eek, I don't know. Are you planning to focus on specific breeds? I have no clue. What audience are you targeting with the podcast? I don't know. I just thought everyone, right? So because I'm not an expert, rather than trying to answer these questions, I'm just going to ask Copilot to answer it. And that's part of the prompt, right? If I want Copilot to answer it with another expert opinion, I just type answer. The answers will come through and it'll say, this is the main goal or theme. These are the focus breeds that we should target. These are the target audiences. Great. Then it goes through and asks you, what are the next questions? And again, do I have specific stories or experience that could shape or inspire the podcast tone? If I did, I could say, for question 1, yes, my dog doesn't bark. It only howls at green tree frogs, right? I could put that in. But if I didn't really have anything that I wanted to add that I thought of was of substance, again, I would just say answer, and they would come up with the answer for me. So I can do this backwards and forwards. They'll go, great. We could talk about these things. Here's some refined solutions based on those things. And then here's another set of questions. I'm just going to say answer again. And then I'll do one more just for fun once it's finished loading. Great. And then answer one more time. Okay. Because by now they've probably asked about, like what are the different brands that I want to use and different ways I want to be able to capture it. So from here, if I feel like I've answered all these questions and these ones are no longer relevant and I don't think that they're going to help get us any closer to what I want to do, I just say solution, because that's the way that this prompt is designed, is that if you say answer, they will answer the questions on your behalf. If you say solution, they will look back through the entire thread and then determine what the solution should be and give it to you as a plan. So by typing solution, here's the 10 series podcast on dogs. So they're giving me all of these different themes, like what could I do for my introduction, different spotlight on breeds, the universal dog topics, some guest features. There's some engaging segments, what we should do around multimedia, the types of platforms, how I can make money out of it, how much it's going to cost me. It will always come back with 3 more questions because that's sort of part of the prompt, but pretty much this is your plan. And if you want it to do more, like if you say, okay, give this to me as a business plan in a table, give this to me as a business plan and use a table for critical elements. See what it'll actually format it for us like. So here's the business plan. So executive summary, vision, structure, detailed action plan, milestones, next steps. Okay, so it's there. I could go off and start my 10 series podcast now. So this is sort of how I would use it, and it could be for anything. So if I've got something that I need to tackle at work, maybe I need to come up with a campaign to be able to promote something, then help me come up with a campaign to promote something. You can put that in and then it'll just help you. It'll just be your assistant and you can be the observer watching these 2 experts sort of talk to each other. So I really, really love this one. The prompts are in your workbook, so make sure you just copy paste it, try it out for yourselves. Okay, so let's come back to the actual presentation. This time, I'm not going to go back in and out of Copilot. This is where you should pause me after each question and after each step. Then go away and do some work in your workbook and then come back for the next step. So what you need to do is we're going to go through 13 steps. There's a lot of steps. And once you feel like you've gotten the hang of it, you can just stop and then do it at your own pace, okay? But you'll start to see the process and the pattern that we're following here. Now, I've added some extra things in for context, so not all of them are where you have to copy and paste things and go away and do things. Some of them are just context slides, and I'll flag those as we go through. All right, so number 1, we're going to go through design thinking. Now, the reason why this part is really important is because if you don't know what your idea is and you don't know how to articulate it, then it's going to make all your other follow-on prompts a little bit messy and clumsy. So there is a bit of an easy, rapid design thinking template that you can use. This template is in your workbook and it's blank. So if you don't know what your idea is, but you still want to be able to go and build something, you just copy what I've written or some of the bits that I've written or take some ideas from there. But the idea is when you're thinking about building out your idea, you want to know, who are you trying to solve for, right? And if it was this course, it would be, I want working professionals and people who use technology, not build on technology, right? That's my who. I'm trying to design something for you guys. What's the challenge? Well, there's a lack of awareness of how to use AI to increase productivity, creativity, and innovation. So that's what we're trying to really build, that muscle of how can I use technology so I can be super smart, super creative, and do things that really help me lift my bar on being productive, but also really innovative. And then what resources are available at my disposal? Well, I have a bunch of stuff from Microsoft that we already have access to, which is great. But if you don't have those resources, you might be limited to PowerPoint, or it might be limited to the technologies that you have in your organization. Maybe there's different platforms or learning management systems that are being used if you are going down this particular path. But think about like the things that are going to help you produce your end result. And then what's the value? And that value has to be from the eyes of the who, right? The person that you're building it for. And if I was you, I'd want it to be free. I want it to be easy to follow. I would want to feel like I'm motivated or being motivated to want to learn. I'd want to make sure that my productivity is better at the end of it. And I want to make sure my creativity is also better at the end of it, because what's the point otherwise? So they're the things that I really want the value to show up. So think about the value to the person or the group of people that you're building for. So that's your first bit. So if you have, go pause me and then go off and do that step. Now, part 2 is to set up Copilot. And you guys know how to do this. We went through these steps before. You just go in, you don't have to have a license. Again, we're just using the free license version. And then what we're doing now is copy and pasting prompts. So when you see this screen and you can see like a prompt up on the side, that means you've got to copy and paste this slide, right? So in your workbook, you're going to hover over all the text, shade it, right click, copy, and then when you paste it into Copilot, you're pasting as plain text. So what this prompt does, right? So what we're trying to do with this first prompt is we're trying to enlist the right helper. So Copilot could do a whole bunch of stuff, but we want to tell it what we want it to do. So we want it to be the best innovation practitioner and coach in the world. I want you to be my innovation coach and assistant. Responses should be creative. They should push the boundaries. They should challenge the status quo and seek to reimagine existing products and services. I will provide the opportunity we wish to tackle. So do not ask clarifying questions or suggest possible next steps. But when you do give me your response, make sure that it's optimized for brevity. And I want it to be concise. So this is the first prompt. Now you can change this prompt if you don't like it, and you can rewrite it, but like ultimately what it's trying to do is enlist that expert that's going to help you and coach you through this build out of your hackathon idea. Okay, so copy and paste into Copilot. Great. So the next step is we actually want to be able to give Copilot then its next prompt. And the next prompt in this sequence of prompts would be a how might we statement. You don't need to do anything with this slide. This is just an informational slide, but a how might we statement is a way to be able to encourage that creative thinking, right? It really helps you to hone in on putting the person that you're solving for right in the middle, and then doing it in an open-ended way, because you're asking questions. It's meant to be positive. It's meant to keep the focus on the person that you're creating the solution for. And then it's meant to be one where you can sort of debate and explore opportunities around how we might go about solving for this problem, right? So when we come up with a how might we statement, we have a prompt for that. So this is the prompt. And guess what? We get to use our design thinking table in this prompt. So there's 2 things you actually need to do with this prompt. This one's a little bit more complicated. You can see copy the prompt text below. Yes, you just copy this text that's in the box. But then after you've pasted it into Microsoft Copilot as plain text, you also want to go back and copy your table and paste that in as an image. This time when you get a response, what I want you to do is copy that response out of Copilot and then paste it into your workbook. So you can see how I've pasted mine in here. And it's given me the how might we enable working professionals and technology users to harness the full potential of AI to supercharge their productivity, ignite creativity, and drive innovation. So this is the how might we statement. We also asked it for 3 other things: potential impact, context and constraints, and ideas to solve. So this is what Copilot's given back to me. The reason why I want you to copy it and paste it into your workbook is because by the end of this session, you'll actually have a documented plan. All right, go do and then come back. Excellent. The next one is taking the how might we statement and then challenging it a bit. Okay, so you don't have to do this step, but this is to show you that on any of these prompts that we give you, you can actually ask it for more or think about it again, do it differently. So if you don't like the result that you get, you don't have to just keep going through step by step. You can actually start to interact with with Copilot and your assistant in Copilot to get them to do it better, to get them to land on what you want it to produce. So what I've done is I've created this prompt which says, using your last response, rewrite the how might we statement to improve it, given the potential impact, the context, and the constraints, because you gave those to me as well, and give me 3 very different options. So I want my how might we statement, I want more options. I want to think about it. Maybe I didn't like the how might we statement that you came up with. Maybe you can come up with something better. And so when I copy and paste this into Copilot, it gives me 3 new responses. So you can go off and do those as well, but it gives me 3 different ways to think about the how might we, and one of these might resonate with me more than the other ones. Okay, part 4, project outline. In this project outline, what we're trying to do is use the opportunity statement that we now have and then build out the project itself. So we're taking, like each step, we're sort of taking the thing from before that's produced and we're reusing it in our prompt in the next one, or we're getting it to reflect on the thread and then keep building. So these prompts are designed to just keep on being continuous. So with this one, we're copying and pasting this again. The only thing that's different is that you will be taking one of the opportunity statements, either the original one, one of the how might we statements, either the original one or the ones that came through in that refined 3 that you just did, and then adding them in here. So using the opportunity statement below, create an innovation project outline using the following headings: description, hacking on, problem or opportunity, who is this for? Tabulate output, put it in a table. So when you copy and paste this in, it will give you a result and it may look like this. Copilot's different. It'll change it up depending on what your opportunity is. You might have more columns, you might have more rows. My little tip here is if you want it to look pretty when you copy and paste it out of Copilot, really important that you actually create the table first. Right? So if they've given you a table and it has 2 columns, 5 rows, and you can see that on Copilot, create a table in your PowerPoint deck with 2 columns and 5 rows. And then when you copy the table, so you shade over the whole table in Copilot, and then you click in, like where it says heading, you just click in there and you paste it, it will fit the table perfectly. And you won't need to format it. You might need to make the text a little bit smaller, but you won't really largely need to format it. If you just paste it without the table, it will just come through as a really weird tabulated text, like HTML code sort of thing. And it's ugly, it's hard to work with. So I always look at the table that's in Copilot, know how many columns and rows, and then I create the table with the same amount, and then I just right click and paste. Okay, part 5 is project team. So we need to work out who we actually need to help us in this hackathon. This is sometimes difficult to work out because you go, well, I don't know, I just need some people that are going to be smarter than me, more capable than me, do things that I can't do, but I don't know what those things are. So ultimately, extending on that thread again for that opportunity statement and innovation project outline, Outline the ideal team by role, responsibility, and skill set. No more than 6 team members. Copy here and paste into Copilot, and then come back and pop in your result. Again, it's a table, so ultimately count your number of rows, count your number of columns, and then create the table. And this is what mine looks like. So I've got the responsibility and skill set broken down into columns, and then I've got the rows by the roles. So I know I'm going to need an innovation lead, a game designer, an AI specialist, a product manager, and a content creator. So they're the types of roles that I'm going to be looking for, and then I can articulate what each of those jobs will be required to do, and the types of skills that I'm looking for in those roles as well. Fabulous. That is really helpful. Now we're moving on to part 6, the pitch, to help recruit the right team. So when you do a hackathon, you have to be able to win the minds of others that might share your desire to also solve for this problem. So you have to have a really great pitch. And this is the prompt that you'll want to use for it. You can just, again, highlight over, right click, and then paste it into Copilot. But ultimately, it's giving Copilot instruction to help you design that pitch. And in here, it should be enthusiastic, inspirational, get people excited about the potential of working on this project, focus on autonomy, relatedness, and competency as reasons to join the team, but don't use those terms, right? So we're trying to give it an indication of what we want it to do. We don't want it just to take our words verbatim. We want it to come up with its own words and its own way to create excitement. So this is generative AI at its best, right? Just being able to get people excited about a concept or an idea based on really factual information that we've generated so far. So we copy this, we paste it into Copilot, and then when you come back, you'll want to copy and paste that back into your workbook as well. So the title, AI Adventure, Gamify, Grow, Glow. Tagline, level up learning, play your way to mastery. Pitch, calling all innovators, creators, and AI enthusiasts. Join us on an electrifying journey to revolutionize professional growth through gamified AI mastery. We're building a future where learning is thrilling, challenges spark growth, and rewards ignite pride. Here, your ideas matter, your skills shine, and your creativity knows no bounds. Whether you're designing game mechanics, crafting inspiring narratives, or pioneering AI capabilities, your contributions will reshape how professionals thrive in tomorrow's tech-driven world. Be part of a project that redefines how we work, learn, and excel, because this isn't just a project, it's a movement. Are you ready to play, create, and make a lasting impact? Now, I would never have been able to come up with something like that, okay? So this is my best buddy, helping me to sound really expert in the work that I'm doing, but really creative and innovative as well. So please, please, please play with it. I love Copilot. It just makes me sound so much smarter than what I actually am. All right, now we need to come up with a cool image. So based on the idea, generate me an image to go with the pitch in, and I put in vibrant caricature style. That's what I wanted. I wanted vibrant, and I want it to be like almost like a cartoon, right? It's caricature. Then really going to grab people's attention and want to take a look at our pitch. So we want it to really grab attention, pull them in. Now, if that's not the style that you want, there's 70 different styles in this link at the bottom of the page. So make sure you go into that link. It's also in your workbooks, so you can access it from there. And this is what it came up with. This is what it actually came up with first go on this one. So I quite liked it. Thought if anything, it might be a bit too youthful. So I might have wanted the characters to be a bit older, considering these are professionals. This feels like it's maybe a little bit too young for the type of audience that I'd be targeting. But by and large, like, it had a good demographic split. I liked that the female was in the middle, so it looked more dominant. It had all of the bright colors that I was looking for as well. And absolutely a caricature, right? So, and you get this sense that it's gamified. So that's what I was looking for, really. Maybe could have just been more mature characters. Okay. When you come back, we're going to go through the one pager. All right, so we're going to copy and paste this prompt. Pretty basic prompt. It's just about what's the purpose, background, opportunity, and next steps. And you need this as a one pager just to be able to help your team understand where they're going, what they're doing, why they're doing it. So when you paste this one in, it'll come back with information for your one pager. Again, bring it back, make sure that you paste it into your workbook. This is great to be able to pretty up and make as your, plan on a page. So it's just a really easy one for people to be able to get a really good grasp of what are you trying to do, why are you trying to do it, what is the opportunity in front of us through this hackathon, and then what are we going to do to be able to execute against it. So really, really simple one pager. And then we're going to do a press release. Now, a reverse press release is so handy because it gets you to really start imagining what this finished product would look like. And if you've got it very clear in your mind about what we're really aiming for at the end of this experience, it helps everyone to pull everyone else, all of those 16 members, along in that same journey. And so people aren't sort of going, oh, we could do something gamified, and they all just shoot out and do their own thing. What you're trying to do is anchor them on the endpoint. And so everyone, when they're doing their brainstorming and they're thinking, they're working closer and navigating to that endpoint. So even though they might be playing different roles, they're all still sort of working in sync and in alignment. So there's a real huge benefit for doing this. Some people will call it like their nirvana, their North Star. But this press release concept is how are you articulating to the world what it is that you've just released or just developed. So write me a document in the style of Amazon's backward press release with this structure, and it has the title, the location, the introduction, problem, solution, quotes by leaders in your company, how the products and services work, and then a quote from a customer, right? So these will be fictional, but it'll give you like, what are we trying to land on? Like if our company is saying this about it, and if our customers are saying that about it, that's our end goal. That's what winning looks like to us. So copy this prompt, paste it as plain text into Microsoft Copilot, and then come back and paste your answer and response into your workbook. This is my response. You'll notice that it's picked up Bongaree, Queensland, because that's the area that I actually live in. So it'll pick up your location. You may want to change that one. But ultimately everything else will be dropped in, and things like, quote by leader in your company. We believe learning should inspire and excite, not intimidate. AI Adventure is our bold step toward making AI mastery accessible and enjoyable for all. Today, we're not just building skills, we're igniting possibilities. Imagine if your leaders could say that about it. Or your customers said, AI Adventure has completely changed the way I approach learning. It's fun, rewarding, and incredibly effective. I now feel confident integrating AI into my projects, and I'm excited to see where these new skills take me. It's these sorts of things that help anchor a team. And if you've already done this, by the time you get to the end of your hackathon, it just makes it so easy just to publish this. You'll get a real quote. You'll be looking for people that are saying these things. You'll know that you'll need to have a customer. You'll need to have an important person from within your business to be able to make comment as well. And you can provide them with a draft, and then they can either validate or tweak. So yeah, it's super handy. All right, business model. I'm going to show you something first. So this one's just an informational slide. This one is a business model canvas, and there's a link in your work pack as well. So this is just if you haven't heard of it before, I've seen these for a number of years, but I've worked in business roles where we had to do a lot of project planning and strategy work. So this is familiar to me, but if you haven't seen it before, it's sort of like, how do you think about the entirety of a product on a page? And it takes into consideration things like who's your target audience, what are your ways for distribution of that product, at what point will you consider monetization of that product. So it's got all of these different things that you need to think about from a product scope and when you're trying to release a new product to market. It's really, really helpful. Now, we're not actually going to physically use this, but in the prompt we will. So the prompt says complete a business model canvas based on the information you have. and then format it in a table. So this is the prompt, really simple. Copy this in your workbook and paste it into Microsoft Copilot. It will send you back a table. So make sure you count the columns, count the rows, drop your information in. But it'll give you largely these building blocks. Now this one's a bit of fun, elevator pitch. And this is where you can do it in the voice and tone of someone significant, right? So write me the 10-second and 30-second elevator pitch for this project as if you were Satya Nadella. So Satya Nadella is the CEO of Microsoft, and another as if you were Steve Jobs. That would impress a Microsoft executive or excite people to join the team. And you might not say Microsoft executive, you might say executive within your organization. So it just gives you sort of context as to how you would copy and paste this prompt in. So go do that one and you'll be surprised with what you come back with. These are the prompts that came back for me. So AI Adventure is about empowering every professional to achieve more through gamified AI learning, turning mastery into an engaging, accessible, and impactful journey that fuels creativity and drives productivity. That sounds like Satya Nadella to me. I could hear him saying that. And that's your 10-second version. And then you've got your 30-second pitch. Now we get to do our MVP. And when you do a minimum viable product and we're listing out the specifications for it, we're actually designing a product requirements document. So that's the sort of language we're going to use in this prompt. Write a PRD, which is a product requirements document, for an MVP, which is a minimum viable product, for our idea based on the following that we can begin to hack on. We're asking it to do quite a lot. So when you copy and paste this prompt into Copilot, and because we've collected so much information through our thread so far, it's probably going to return you quite a bit of information, and it might be a mix of both text and tables. So when you're copying and pasting it back into your workbook, you might have to play around with the formatting to get it right. But this is what it produced for me. I had to split it up over 2 sections on my page and shrink down the text, and I had to insert a table just to be able to capture everything in here. The thing that I also like are these success metrics. Often these are really hard to come up with, even just in normal business. It's just hard to come up with OKRs or objectives and key results. And this actually does it for you. And it puts a measure on each of these components. So validate user engagement with the minimum viable product. And to do that, we're looking to achieve 70% module completion rate among early adopters. So we're really clear around how much needs to be completed and who needs to complete it. So it really helps, define what is the objective and what is the key result that we're after. So I really love this PRD for that purpose. Okay, so after you've done that step, we're going to move on to the agenda. And this is just planning out your time. So I'm assuming that it's a 5-day hackathon. And so you and your team will be completely saturating yourselves for 5 days into a hack. If it's not 5 days, if it's 3 days, if it's 1 day, you just adjust it. And when you put in the prompt, you just change some of the language to suit the timing that you have. So you are telling Copilot that you're the project manager for this idea. Write a project plan so we can get hacking on this project. We have 5 days to work on this project. Create a day-by-day plan, split by morning and afternoon. Now you might say split by hour. You might have wanted it really, really detailed, especially if it's only 1 day. So just work out how many days and how you want the days to be split up, and format in a table following Google Ventures Design Sprint Framework. Okay, it's a special framework that is used that a lot of people who are hacking out projects will use, and list the materials that I'll need as well. Okay, so copy and paste that one into Copilot. And this is what came back for me. So it came back in a table format, and I created my table and I pasted it in. It shows me what we're going to do, what's the main theme for each of the days, and then what we're going to do and focus on in the morning and afternoon, and then the types of materials I'm going to need to help facilitate each of these components. So this is really handy to be able to create clarity with your project team so they know what they're doing and when they need to get things done by. Super, super useful. So that's how you get from going from no idea to documenting your idea through a rapid design, and then take it all the way through to press release and minimum viable product and the actual 5-day agenda for your hackathon. That's your end-to-end scope. So I hope you found that useful. And what I want you to do is just make sure that you've captured everything out of your Copilot and you've pasted it into your workbook so that you can then package it up and then attempt a hackathon yourselves. So thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your time, and good luck with all of your prompting and getting creative.